Well, you got any news? Because I looked up, I was looking for news. I didn't have any news of my own to report, and I saw an article in New Scientist about quantum computing, which I don't understand, and qubits, which is spelled with a Q, like quantum bits.
Hmm.
For and the head of the article was like, researchers have discovered that like it's super easy to do randomness, like to generate randomness with quantum bits, but
Hmm.
the rest of the article was paywalled, and I was not going to subscribe to New Scientist just to learn about qubits.
Yeah, that
I said,
sucks.
screw that. So anyhow,
Huh.
apparently qubits can do random computer randomness really easily. We'll have to investigate that in the future. I'm not doing it now.
I have a news follow-up.
Good.
I believe what's the name of this stupid I've been playing that video game that you announced on the show a while ago. I mean, it's definitely like it's a roguelike, so every time you enter a room, it's randomly generated.
Was it the Lost in Random, The Eternal Die?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Correct.
the article says what really goes into fine-tuning a roguelike. They're not talking about randomness, it just came up because Lost in Random is the title of the game.
Hmm.
So what was your news follow-up about it?
Oh, just that I was playing it and that it was pretty random and pretty fun. Although it is getting, I had to put it down because it got. So here's what you do: is you go into the level, and then you every time you enter a room, it's randomly generated
Hmm.
from like a stable of rooms available in
Are
that.
you saying like if you leave the room and come back in, it's a different room now?
No, no, no. But the map is randomly generated and then permanent once.
I see.
And so then, yeah, you go through like one level and then you get up to it's a staircase and go to the next level. And that one's not randomly generated. That one you always fight the same boss. And then you go to another staircase and then it goes back to random. Like, so it'll go like random, 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 up a staircase, boss level, up a staircase, random level, up a staircase, boss level.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's well done, but the randomness is a little frustrating because one of the things that you have to do as part of the game is get all these rooms. Like
Hmm.
every once in a while, you'll get a room that like you end up with a sketch of that is like a piece of your history that's like backfilling the story. And so like now I've and you're leveling up and all this stuff all the way through, right?
Hmm.
But now I can get all the way to the end boss, but I can't beat the end boss because he's ridiculous. Ridiculous in like a super NES way to like just there's no strategy involved. It's just like you have to be able to live long enough to get to this point and then you can hit him, and then you have to live long enough to this point and then you
Right.
can hit him, but no, I haven't been able to collect all the right rooms. So now, like that's the problem that happens with these games. The other one that I got frustrated with like this was blueprints. The blueprints like BLUPRINCE. Did I talk about this?
No, I don't think so.
It's a really cool random game because what happens is every time you go to open a door, you get three cards, and they
Uh-huh.
all represent three different rooms that you can choose from.
Oh, that's fun.
And yeah, and it's like a and you have to like build this house blueprint as you
Uh-huh.
go, and then until you get stuck, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up and you do it again. But it literally got to the point where like all I was doing was collecting rooms.
Uh-huh.
Like I had beat all of the main parts of the game that were supposed to be beaten, but I was just collecting rooms at this point, and it was
Uh-huh.
just getting annoying. It was just time
Yeah.
consuming at that point. So,
Right.
but that is the problem with randomness, is that if you're trying to get a specific outcome.
Well, that's the raffle problem. That's the same thing we were talking
Hmm.
about. Oh, I can't pre-talk about what we were talking about with our guest that we haven't released that episode yet.
Uh-huh.
But we do talk about the raffle problem with a guest that's upcoming in season two. So stay tuned for that, listeners.
Your aleatoric reality.
Welcome to Your Aleatoric Reality, a podcast about randomness. This episode, we have a different guest. It was a moonshot guest for me when I decided to contact Andy Looney from Looney Labs, the guy who designed Fluxx and Are You the Robot and Are You the Traitor and a number of games that we discussed in the interview. I thought there was no way we were going to pull Andy Looney for an interview. But the ace up my sleeve was that I had play tested Are You the Traitor before it came out with him at Penguicon. So I messaged him. This was like I didn't have contact information for him. I just went to looney.labs.com and put in contact. I was like, "Hi, I like met Andy at Penguicon in 2009 and play tested a game with him. It would be really cool if he came on our podcast." And I figured like we've tried asking other, guests of caliber on the show that way and never heard anything back at all. So I was expecting just to, throw that into the void and never hear. But like a day or two later, I got an email from Andy himself saying, "Hey, it sounds like fun. I'd love to be on the show." So I was very excited, and I am very excited now to present the interview that we did with Andy Looney of Looney Labs. And here it is. Andy Looney, welcome to Your Aleatoric Reality.
Oh, it's good to be here. Thank you.
So here's how we do things. I'm going to randomize the questions first, and some people leave the behind the scenes stuff for subscribers, but on this show, the behind the scenes stuff is really the most interesting part. So
Okay.
here's how we do this. I have a set of questions that we have written specifically for you.
Okay.
A set of questions that are icebreaker questions that we could ask anyone, and then a set of what I call the wacky questions, the weird hypotheticals and would you rather, questions, stuff like that. So we
Okay.
take a randomized number from each of those lists, and then we mix them all, we shuffle them all, and then that will be my list of questions for you.
Okay.
So for the Andy question, and thanks for being so game. I guess game
Whatever.
is part of your career. So
Sure.
if you would find the D7 that Damon made and sent you.
Yeah. Yeah. I got it.
Yeah, so if you would go ahead and roll that for me, that will tell me how many Andy specific questions we're going to use.
All right. And the
I'm
answer
going to add
is
4 to the roll.
4.
4. And I'm adding 4. It's a D7 plus 4 for this set. So 4 plus 4 is 8. I'm going to get 8 of the Andy specific questions.
Okay.
6.
The podcast about randomness,
I mean, I get that.
Yeah, we actually on episode 1 we rolled for the title of the show.
Oh, wow. Well, as a guy whose main claim to fame is a highly chaotic random game, i.e. Fluxx, I can only approve.
Yes, indeed. So the next list would be the icebreaker questions. And for
Now, are
those
these questions about my video game Icebreaker? No, they're not.
No, they're
No, I had a video game called Icebreaker?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So there's a little bit of cross-pollination there.
All right.
But these questions are the questions you could ask anyone. And I will ask you to roll a D5 and add 3 to the roll. And that will look like basically a triangle.
But not a pyramid.
Right. Because pyramids are how you guys kind of started, right?
Yeah, they absolutely are. Pyramids are very near and dear to my heart. All right, rolling it. And the result is a 5.
A 5, and I will add 3. We got 8 of those. Goodness gracious.
Oh my gosh.
2, 3.
The ice will be
4,
thoroughly
5,
broken.
6, 7, 8. On Hot Ones, they only do 10 questions, so we may have to.
Yeah, but they also have to stop and eat wings.
They do
so-
have to stop and eat wings
and talk about that.
and cry and
There's
sweat.
no way
and
I
all
would
that.
ever be on that show. I do not like spicy food. I'll
like
take the
spicy-
mild wings, please.
Yeah, right. I like spicy food, but it doesn't like me.
I like wings. I just don't want them to be, toxically coated with poisonous heat.
All right, give me some blue cheese, and that's good.
So you prefer flavor over chemical reaction then?
Yeah, I like. Well, I wish I'm a picky eater. I'm a super taster. I have many things to say about foods and flavors, but I don't think that's really the question officially before me at this time.
Yeah, not officially. Well, we do need to get some wacky questions. I'm gonna spare you and roll a D3,
and
Okay.
we're not going to add anything to this roll. This is going to be a unmodified D3, which is this is a the wide. It has a triangular cross section, but it's wider. It has rock paper scissors on the faces, but also numbers. And Damon did design those glyphs as well, which I thought were pretty cool.
Three-sided. I had it a minute ago. Yeah, I think it's this, right? Oh,
Correct.
yeah, it's that one. All right. Okay, rolling the three-sided. Um, Figuring out how to read the three-sided. Looks like it's a one.
A one, which is rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see the symbols now. All right.
So one wacky question goes in the mix. I'm going to randomize those questions thoroughly and then paste them into the document that Damon and I both have access to so we can take turns asking you questions.
All right. Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So glad to have you here. Haven't seen you since PenguinCon 2008. You remember me?
Mm.
And,
I mean, you seem vaguely familiar, but I meet a lot of people, so.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was, gosh, 15 years ago? What,
That
17
was
years ago?
that was when Are You the Traitor was still called EMR.
The Evil Magic Ring. That's
Yeah,
right.
I love that game. And I'm so glad,
Oh,
well,
cool.
not to get into what we might talk about in the questions, but I'm so glad you made Are You a Robot?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that made the Are You a Traitor concept accessible to my young children. And
Oh.
they have sometimes they change it to Are You a Cat? But they play that game a lot.
Are you
They
a
decide
cat?
one of them is a evil murderous robot cat instead of a robot human.
Well,
Uh,
whatever works.
Yep.
But yeah,
the
I'm very pleased with both of those games. I feel like Trader is just a little too complicated to kind of explain, and so yeah. Whereas Trader is, I mean, Robot is wonderfully simple,
mhm.
and therefore, yeah, it's the stepping stone thing you describe makes sense. Like, okay, get your feet wet, and then we can try this evil magic ring game.
Right on.
I've thought about, if people say, "What's your dream license?" And for years it had been Star Trek, and then I got it, and so I don't, I don't have a good answer to that right now.
Oh, I hope that
But
was one of the questions that could have come up. I don't. Oh, it is. It is on our list. So you'll have to think about that.
oh, it's actually on the list.
Yep.
It
Well,
is.
I'll save my answer. I have things I could say about it, so I'll save my
All
Oh,
right.
answer.
cool.
Well, I'll ask you my first official
All
question.
right, here.
Back at a convention, not PenguinCon, but a similar Michigan fan convention, I once played Stoner Flux in a hot tub while it was still out of print. And I was curious because Stoner Flux went out of print, but then now it's back in print. I wonder if there's any particular story behind why it went out of print, what inspired you to bring it back into print, and that sort of thing.
All right, well, let's see. Stoner Flux is actually the second Flux. Like it's the first themed Flux. People don't
Hmm.
necessarily realize that. A lot of ways, Zombie Flux gets the attention that way, but it was really the stoner version. And at the time, we were very interested in, participating in the fight for legalization, and
Hmm.
obviously we've come a long way on that. Um, but when we first brought it out, we actually had this idea of kind of pitching it to Normal as a thing they could sell as
Cool.
kind of not only raising interest but as a fundraiser, and they were not into it, so we just published it ourselves. And as for so it went out of print when we sold through the first print run, and then it was out of print during a window of time in which we were giving all of our products an overhaul. So the first few versions of Flux, first few versions of a lot of our games were very tightly packed into a tuck box just the right size for the cards. And there were several different versions of that. But in the early 2000s, we started standardizing all of our games
Hmm.
to use a little bit bigger of a box, the two-part box, 100 cards with a rule sheet that's a certain size. And that standardization was really great for our product line as we kept bringing out new products because then there was this, they always have to conform to this certain spec, which we don't have to get respec'd by the factory. And even we could do print runs that are like a bigger print run that are kind of the same thing, but we split it up into a couple different products by all we have to do is change out the art because everything else is
Nice.
exactly the same. And all of our games are with a few exceptions of things that don't fit that mold. All of our games are part of that model now. And so we
Hmm.
went through a process of reworking previously published games to fit this new expanded model. And sometimes that meant making other changes to the game, like, well, specifically Stoner Fluxx. The original version was only an 84 card deck, so we had to add a few cards to bring it up to 100 cards.
Mhm.
Oh, because you were
And
constrained by the size of the box.
yeah, so there were little changes like that, and so Stoner was out of print for a while simply because we were going through that process and we just hadn't gotten around to it for some years. We were focused on new games more than bringing out the old games. With Stoner, we also wanted to add color. The original version just had black and white line drawings that I had done, and we were redoing things better, so we wanted to look better, and so that keep putting it onto the back burner for a long time. And another thing too was, if you look closely at the new edition of Stoner Fluxx, you'll see it's not really published by Looney Labs. It's published by Fully Baked Ideas,
The
which is
sub-
which is us, but it's like our adult games imprint. It's like
Right.
our sub brand. So and Drinking Flux is under that too, along with like adult Mad Libs, and it just
Yeah.
gives us a little bit of separation so that we can have these things in our line without necessarily having them in our family friendly catalog.
Without causing controversy. Yeah, that's very sensible.
And so it took us a few years to kind of figure that out too, because
Hmm.
the original version of Stoner Fluxx was just by Looney Labs, and so we wanted to create that bit of separation. So there were a few years where it was just out of print, and that's also just how it is sometimes. I mean, when we make games, we can't keep everything in print.
Hmm.
It's difficult, actually, very painful actually sometimes. How we wish we could keep something in print and we can't. Most of the time at this point, it's because of licensing issues. Like Batman Flux, for example, one of our bigger hits, but it's out of print and we don't have the license. And I don't know if we're ever going to get it again.
Is it the case with the Cartoon Network ones as well?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I want Rick and Morty Flux.
I do too. And the thing is, it exists. I designed it.
Oh,
And it has been printed in Polish.
like the
Oh,
Russian
wow.
Star Wars one?
Just exactly like the
Yep.
Russian Star Wars one. The Russian there was a Polish company that was doing versions of our games, and they had the in to Cartoon Network that we did not have anymore, and they asked if they could publish it, and I said yes, I will design it for you. And as with the Russian Star Wars, I thought and hoped, well, this will kind of open the back door, make it easier to like, hey, can we re-import this now into English? Still hadn't happened.
Could you just publish a little booklet translating what's on the cards in Polish to English?
I mean, it's not the same.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
But you could do it in the Monty Python style,
What do you mean by
like
that?
the Hungarian translation dictionary.
Oh, yeah, that's an excellent idea.
My hovercraft is full of
It
eels.
certainly is. That's fun. No, I don't think we'll be doing that either.
I have to
So,
say,
anyway,
I have
what?
version 1 and 2 of Flux, and both of those boxes are just decimated. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are ancient collector's items at this point.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, actually, since I mentioned it, I first played Flux in line for episode 1.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And some guy brought a little camping, the fold-up camping tables
Sure,
with the
sure.
roll-out top,
Yeah.
and he had a bunch of games with him, and we just sat and played Flux the whole time.
Nice.
And people kept trying to like keep their spots in line from going away while they were playing this wonderful new game. So I
Oh.
mean, whoever that guy is, he sold many copies of that game for you that day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and just think about it. Let's flash back to that moment. There you were waiting in line to see episode 1. You were in a world where we thought the trilogies, where we thought the sequel trilogies, well, the prequel trilogy, where we thought the prequel trilogies were going to be great.
Yes,
We were so excited.
I was
We
so
thought it's going to
excited.
be a new Star Wars. It's going to be so good. Little did we know that Jar Jar Binks was coming.
I have to say though, I like Jar Jar because he's the only source of comic relief in what's otherwise a very dark story.
Well,
Yes.
I've become a huge fan of Jar Jar when I learned the whole Darth Jar Jar, the dark Jar Jar theory, and I believe it. I feel like George was laying it out as a long-term plan,
Mhm.
and then Jar Jar got such backlash that he canned the whole thing. and it's sad.
It's a shame they chickened out. Yeah.
It is, because I think that would have been an epic reveal. Imagine episode
Oh, that
3
would have
and
been
Jar
right.
Jar, your friend Jar Jar from the first 2 movies, suddenly turning to the dark side, or rather, revealing that he was on the dark side this whole time. He was just pretending to be a bumbling idiot. You fool! You believed him.
The Drunken Master. Was
Yes,
the,
yes.
Exactly.
If you don't know what we're talking about, dear listeners, look it up. Drunken Master, Jar Jar Binks, Darth, and do that search, and you'll be off to the races.
Yeah.
Next question.
So a lot of people are aware that you were an Eagle Scout.
True.
What was your project?
Oh, I did a bunch of work with my church, like vacation Bible school promotion and stuff that summer.
Oh, okay. There's nothing.
I don't usually like to dwell on it. I'm not all that proud of my service project. It got the job done, but it wasn't like one of those. I mean, I hear about yes. So yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. And the thing they never tell you when you're coming up as an Eagle is that if you become famous, you will have to write letters to people congratulating them on their Eagle Scouthood. when they find out, when it becomes known that you're a famous Eagle and that you'll do that you start getting letters from people. And I've got troops that they just the Scoutmaster sends off for every Eagle, and they've been doing it for years to this huge list of people. And I know this. I mean, when I got the Eagle, I got letters myself from Paul Sarbanes, the senator at the time.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
You know, the local government peoples would send in letters, standard form letter. Anyway, I created a form letter to send out because I get so many requests. I have sent out, and by I mean my staff, because I signed the letters, but my customer support person actually handles all the mailing out. But
Nice.
we've sent out over 1,000 congratulation letters to Eagle Scouts in my name.
Nice. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah,
Just send
it's
him a
pretty cool.
copy of Stoner Fletch with a little post-it note that says "Figure it out."
Yeah. You know, I didn't become a stoner until much later in life. But yeah, and I'm gonna show off something. Oh, again, it's not video, and I'm not wearing it either. I always my belt buckle is still my Philmont belt buckle from Boy
nice.
Scout. Philmont Scout Camp was a important experience for me. I went twice as a scout.
See, I never
Anyway,
went through the
yeah, I love
ranks
my
at
scouting
all.
experiences, and I'm very proud of them. And it blows my mind that there is now a game design merit badge.
Is it really?
Yeah. Blows
That's
my
pretty
mind.
cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. And now, if you told me years ago that A, there would be a game design merit badge, and that B, scouts would be calling me up because there's a requirement to talk to an individual in the industry about what it's like to work in the game industry.
So
Requirement
people
number
call
8.
you that?
Yeah, people. I get this call every now and then.
Oh, wow.
I've even gone to address scout groups a couple of times, not groups, troops, a couple of times, and to talk about it and answer their game design questions for game design merit badge. Very, very surreal to me.
That's cool, though. I mean,
It
at
is.
least they're not just doing the box cars or whatever
Pinewood Derby, that's actually
Yeah,
a Cub
thank you.
Scout thing, but okay.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yes.
This is a more targeted question. What is your best-selling? This is a two-parter. What is your best-selling game, and which of your games is your favorite, if you have a favorite?
Okay, so bestseller is Fluxx, easy, hands down, far and away from all the others, and specifically the original version of Fluxx, the
Nice.
vanilla basic version of Fluxx. Every now and then, when we release a new flavor, it might nudge out the leader for a few months or a little while, but then it comes back to the original taking the lead as the bestseller.
Well, your diehards buy another copy.
Well, sure, yeah. Well, it's like no matter what theme you have, you're like, well, I gotta have the original too.
Right.
So it works out that way. My favorite version of Fluxx is usually like the one I'm currently working on, or the one I'm focused on at the moment, which I might say is Cat Fluxx, the one we're currently getting ready to send to the printer. But really, at this point, I now say that my favorite Fluxx is Across America Fluxx, because that game inspired me to take an epic 6-week trip around the country, a road trip in which I went to all of the landmarks in the game and took a picture of myself with the landmark holding the Fluxx card up in front of the landmark.
And do you still have
And-
that cat?
Well, you're ahead of me, but yeah, on that you've heard the story already. But yes, on that trip, we rescued an abandoned cat in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, and that cat is the greatest cat ever. She's right here. Again, too bad we don't have any video feed for our listeners, but here she is, Neko, the greatest cat ever,
Oh,
the
that's
cat who will
great.
ride on my shoulders as I'm now demonstrating.
Awesome.
I
Well,
wonder if I'd be allergic to cat flux.
we could post a clip. I mean, we are recording the meeting, so we could post a clip.
Well, she's like, no, I was napping. I'm not doing that right now. And my
No.
headphones are creating a weird barrier. But she is the greatest. So yeah, this cat was the souvenir from that trip that made
That's
that trip
awesome.
the best trip ever. And that version of Fluxx my favorite ever. But my favorite game of all is the pyramid game Homeworlds, the epic interstellar space battle game that I will give
Hmm.
you a medal if you can beat me at, which
Oh,
uses my
wow.
pyramids, but which was designed by my dear friend John Cooper, and which is the best game ever.
Awesome.
Very cool. Well, my daughters who sometimes play Are You a Robot as Are You a Cat? They are definitely 100% going to need cat flux.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you a cat? Are you an evil killer cat? Is really the
Right.
question.
Right.
Well, the brilliance
Um,
of Flux is that, I mean, I have yet to present it to anyone that can't pick it up in the first round.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, I have. Some people just can't seem to get their brain around it at all. Um, I say it often takes a couple, like 2.5 games before you really get it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Let's just say, clear your mind. The
Yeah,
rules will be presented in front of you. That's all that matters.
but that
Just
that
do
also
what you're
depends on
told.
how long the game is. If you have
True.
one really long game, you'll know how it works. But
Yeah.
a lot of times, and I hate the overly long game.
Mm.
My one twinge is when Flux just goes on past its point of welcome,
I don't think
and
that
Draw five,
happens
play
often, though. That
six.
hasn't happened to me very often.
it happened more in the older days. The
Yeah.
earlier versions of Flux were somehow a little more prone to it. I think I've gotten a little bit better at streamlining things so that they don't stall out quite the same way. One of the worst offenders you'll get is the dreaded combo of hand limit 0, draw 1, play
Hmm.
1. It's just like,
I
it's
was.
going to take us forever to get anything. And hand limit 0 is one of those. Well, I only put that in the original version. I
Hmm.
guess I,
Mm.
I think it's also in Zombie because I hadn't quite woken up to the fact that everybody hates that card. But, and not everybody, some people delight in playing it because everybody hates that card.
Oh, I love it. I love the chaos of it. So, or when it's like draw five, play six, or whatever.
Yeah, I,
When
I,
there's, yeah.
those are, yeah, I love when you get to do a lot, even though if it's mandatory. If it's draw 5, play all, that's a great situation. But draw 1, play 1, hand limit 0 is a nightmare, and it doesn't come up very often. But yeah, the game that goes on too long is the bane of my existence in some ways, which is why I invented a similar game to Flux called Get the MacGuffin, which is always over in just a few minutes.
Haven't played that one yet, but I'm looking forward
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah, it's good. I like it a lot.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Flux is the adaptive strategy. So it's like you have a rule thrown at you that completely dismisses wherever you were in your head with what you
Yeah.
were going to do, and then especially when you have to on the fly play all, and then you have to have a strategy.
Yeah, you gotta keep flexible in that game for sure.
Flexible.
Flexible.
Yeah.
All right. So, Andy, famously, you formerly worked for NASA, and a lot of
Yeah.
people hear NASA and they immediately think space launches, and they're imagining just the ops control room, right?
Yeah.
There are all sorts of NASA jobs. I have an acquaintance who has a PhD in meteorology, and she used to be a NASA meteorologist. So, my question for you is, what was your job at NASA, and is there anything you miss about that chapter?
Ooh, well, I worked at NASA for 8 years, and I followed in my dad's footsteps. He was a NASA engineer from the founding of the Goddard Space Flight Center in 1959 to, well, when he died decades later. Well, he retired a couple of years before that. But anyway, he was there forever, and he was an institution. And I loved my NASA days. I look back on them with fondness, but I would not want to go back because I have my dream job now,
Hmm.
Right.
and it's so great doing what I do. But I did enjoy working for NASA. Um, I was a computer programmer in those days, and I wrote software that was actually moving files around in very early primitive networking kind of systems.
Nice.
But that never had much glamour. I
Hmm.
worked on ground systems that process data received from satellites and then formatted for the scientists to review. Very, very unexciting sounding. So after working there for a bunch of years, I managed to get myself transferred over to the Hubble Space Telescope project
Nice.
because I wanted to work on something that had a little more glamour. And in those days, NASA was smarting from the many problems with the Hubble when it was first launched. The problems with the mirror were, of
Hmm.
course, the big ones, but there were a lot of other problems that didn't get much attention. But they had this mandate to fix everything, so I was kind of brought in on that, and I was working on this new system called the coprocessor, which was an add-on computer for the existing computer, the DF224, which was the digital fixed point twos complement 24-bit computer that was the attitude and positioning computer controlling the spacecraft, and it had failing memory units, and this coprocessor was added in as a way of providing additional computer power through these testing ports that weren't really meant for that, but that were kind of adapted into that. So I got to see the shuttle launch. We drove down to watch the launch and watching it go on the first servicing mission when they added in this coprocessor, which had about 4,000 lines of C code that I'd written. And it flew in space from the first servicing mission in 1993 until the third servicing mission in 1997, when they yanked out the entire DF224 and the coprocessor and put in a completely new, better computer. And so I only had code in space for about 4 years. But I did
That's
have
cool
that, and I
though.
love being able to
That's
claim
cool,
that.
man.
Yeah.
And early networking is pretty glamorous. I'm a pretty big dork,
It was
so
pretty cool, actually. Um, I,
and it's
I
cutting edge at least.
I was at the time. We were doing this real-time operating system that was running this, the hardware for our new units that we were building. So it didn't have a networking system. We were doing everything by putting data on floppy disks. And I actually wrote these little utilities that would let us transfer files from one computer to another
That's
using
awesome.
TCP/IP protocol and a bunch of code kind of cannibalized from Unix systems that I figured out how to make work. And
Nice.
it was really exciting and gratifying for me because um, I was hired on kind of like, well, we'll give this kid a chance because we have a hiring spot available, and we'll see if it works out. And my boss thought I would work out, but my boss's boss wasn't so sure, and they actually had a lunch bet on whether or not I would be able to achieve this networking project.
Oh, that's horrible. Did they tell you about that right off or?
No, I didn't know until
Okay.
like one day I invited my boss down to see, look, I can type on this one. Boom, the words appear on the other one.
Nice.
And like, wow, you did it. And he called down his boss and like, look, you did it. Like, well, I guess I owe you lunch. Like, what was that about? Well,
At least they didn't just exchange a dollar.
yeah, it was almost like that. But I was like, well, wanted to see if you could do it. I didn't think you could do it. He didn't think you could do it. I thought you could do it within 6 months, and you did.
Nice.
Anyway, it was a great moment.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's really cool. With a game like Pyramids,
Yeah,
there are almost infinite possibilities of moves and rules. How do you
yeah.
decide which ideas fit together and which ones you need to let go or save for another iteration?
Oh boy. Well, that's like a broader game design question in a lot of ways. How do you
Mhm.
decide what's part of the game and what's not? So the pyramids are, I like to compare them to a deck of playing cards from another planet. So
Mhm.
it's a set of pyramids in a bunch of different colors and three sizes that stack in nets beautifully, and that have various other properties. Like you can think in terms of, well, the largest are worth 3 points and the smallest are only worth one, and they can be standing up and merely occupying position, or they can be pointing at things. Color can have various meanings, and so as you're approaching a game, you're always asking the question, well, what's the game about? Like, what's the
Hmm.
theme of the game?
For sure.
And what things fit based on that theme, and or what things fit based on mechanical, like that makes sense that this could be that, or this could represent that, or I'm going to need to have some cards to add in to explain or provide a randomizing element or a hidden information element or something.
With your brain, which comes first, mechanical or thematic?
That is a great question because the answer is both.
Hmm.
Sometimes the mechanic will start the design process. I'll have some, oh, I could do something with this mechanic, and maybe I have no idea what it'll be. It's just like maybe it'll be something, and as I more ideas come in, at some point, like, oh, I get it, we're building buildings or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Other times, I'll feel like I want to do a game about blank. Like my favorite example here is Chrononauts, my time travel card game.
I love that game.
That's
Oh,
a
thank
tough
you.
game.
I'm
That's a
very proud
tough
of that.
game.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but it's a tough game.
So with that one, I was like, okay, I want to do a game about time travel. I want to do a card game in which we are time travelers. Well, how am I going to work that out? And uh, there'll need to be things on the table that represent the flow of time. Now, you've played the game, so you know there's a kind of calendar-like grid
Hmm.
Hmm.
of the events in time that are changeable by the time travelers. But at first, I was imagining a kind of a line of cards that
Hmm.
would be just the obviously arranged chronologically, but would be like only the time windows are open in these certain years at this time, and it would kind of come and go and be a dynamic changing thing. And I realized I can't. I need to see them all at once. I need to see all the things that can be rippled, and so it developed up that way. But
So you took the Trail of Pythagorean approach.
absolutely, yes, Ralph Amadorian see all of time all at once.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
Like bugs in amber.
what I love so much, what I love so much about Chrononauts is that when, like, if I were just going to think when I first heard the description of it, for instance, I thought, well, that would be crazy because you have all these points in time and anything you do like changes the whole timeline. But you very expertly figured out how to make the events so that this thing would only affect these key things that are related to it, so that it
Yep.
makes it manageable. Like the mechanics are manageable.
Yep.
So when I first played Chrononauts, I thought this is brilliant how you did that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still very proud of that. Figuring that out was quite the challenge and quite the breakthrough when I realized that only have certain things depend on certain things. It doesn't always make sense. Like, really, there would be no World War II if it weren't for World War One.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
you have to say that has to go out the window and just say, look, World War II, whatever we call it, started when the Germans invaded Poland. I mean,
Right.
that's a very specific you know,
It absolutely
linchpin event.
started at the end of World War One.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And I hate to say it, but in a lot of ways, I feel like we may in the future look back on the current times as World War III. I
Hmm.
mean, it would start obviously October 7th would be when you could say that was when the conflict began, and then the Ukraine invasion. No, I guess that was first. I don't know. I can't remember. But
I don't know. I'm not good with
the
dates.
point is, you had multiple countries starting to get involved in each other,
Hmm.
and basically, since we haven't had it yet, there's two kinds of World War III. There's the terrifying Cold War World War III, where the nukes all fall and it's just over.
Hmm.
But
Mm.
the slow World War III that I think we could be considered to be in is the one in which a bunch of wars all start and there's kind of global fighting in a lot of places. And if it's like the first two world wars, it's all not in America, please. Thank you. Let's just have the fighting elsewhere. We'll send our boys to fight and drop bombs in other countries,
Yep.
but nothing here, please.
Red Dawn. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it at a
So
distance.
and by that logic, it seems like World War III is underway, and triggers,
Definitely could be.
ties back to World War II because it's all about Israel, which it's
Right.
just like World War One. World War II was all this unfinished business from World War One. World War III is a lot of unfinished business from World War
Still got
And
unfinished
the most
business.
random assassination in history.
II. Yeah.
Right.
I have a Dagara file, I think. I can't remember what photograph format it is. But anyway, of my great uncle in his
Hungarian outfit.
uniform. And in Hungarian, I had it translated, and it says, "I just started with the guard of Franz Ferdinand. Hope things go well. Might get weird." Essentially, is what it said.
Wow.
It's like-
Yeah.
Well,
Craziness.
On that note, I'll move to the next question.
All right.
Other than this highly stimulating interview, what's the last thing that made you laugh out loud?
I mean, I love laughing. I laugh all the time. I'm comedy is a very important part of my life. But when you put me on the spot,
Yeah,
my
well,
my mind is
name
blank.
drop some
I
comics.
can't think of anything.
Well, that's
Oh,
a good thing because
well,
it shows that you laugh constantly, so you can't segregate
sure,
and
sure.
figure
My
out
favorite comedian of all time is Bill Hicks.
Yeah, he's great.
Love him. He really opened my mind to a lot of things. Not only made me laugh my ass off, but got my brain really going on
I
a
was
lot
going to
of
say I'd call him more of an activist.
everything from drugs to JFK.
Yep,
I love him. George Carlin, another one of the greats.
same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
sure, yeah. He had such a way with words as well as concepts. I hate to say it, but I love Jerry Seinfeld. I was a fan of him way before he got
Sure.
his own TV show. I
Yeah.
tuned in. Hey, he's got his own TV show. That's funny.
Yeah, well, he didn't get a show by not being funny,
Well, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Stephen Wright is another
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
classic.
brilliant.
Love him. I like modern John Mulaney is very funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, one of the funniest things wasn't like recent, but I'll point you to the video. One of my favorite, most hilarious things ever is his story about the time he and a friend of his as kids, made the jukebox at the diner play "What's New Pussycat" over and over and over again. And it's like they go in and they feed the jukebox with quarters and just keep punching in the same song, and then they sit back and watch the chaos. It's hilarious. Find the
Nice.
clip of him telling that story. I won't spoil the funniest part.
It's better than the monkey smelling his finger and falling off the branch.
Oh man, it's so good. I can't resist. I'm gonna the best part about it. It's like the group, the diner is going nuts as it's like becoming obvious that the same song is going to go repeating over and over again. But his friend, like John Mulaney's funny, but his unnamed friend in the story is the genius because he says after they put in quarters and done it like 7 times, he says, "Hold on, before you put in one more What's Your Pussycat, why not mix it up with one round of It's Not Unusual." So then they're
Tom
listening,
Jones.
and so the diner crowd is getting more and more fed up with "What's New Pussycat?" Whoa, whoa, whoa! And then finally,
God, that song is so horrible.
it ends, and like "It's Not Unusual," and so they're all like, "Oh, thank God!" And
They're right
then
back to it.
Then-
it goes back to
Goes
"What's
back
New
on.
Pussycat" 20 more times.
Oh boy.
Just genius.
Yeah. I didn't.
I think he said after it got a few more times, the group just unplugged the jukebox. They couldn't take
Yeah.
it anymore.
Right.
That's what happened to me when I did that as a kid. Except that it was Convoy by C.W. McCall.
Oh yeah,
from the
we got a
movie.
big old convoy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it,
I
something
played it.
duck?
I played it like 14 times in a row,
Yep.
and only actually
Yep.
played 8 times because they unplugged the jukebox.
I played that song for my daughter. My daughter's 14. And I played that song for my daughter. I explained to her.
The CB radio craze of the early 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to
Oh, no,
figure
I
that
didn't
one
go
out.
that far. I didn't even go that far. I just
Oh, yeah.
said they made a feature-length movie
Yes,
out of
that's
this.
true. Okay, so next question,
Yep.
I guess.
What's your favorite keeper and or goal?
In like all time or regular
Mhm.
Flux?
No, all time. Every version you've done.
Oh my God. Well,
Sophie's choice over
I'm
here.
going to answer the easy one, which is to say in regular Flux, my favorite keeper is Chocolate because I love chocolate, and chocolate is the most useful keeper in the game. In fact, we have a kind of code that in every version of Flux, there's a card that is the most useful keeper, and so we
Right.
call that the chocolate.
Nice.
Oh,
like-
nice.
In Wizard of Oz Flux, Dorothy. Alice is the chocolate of Wonderland Flux. Dorothy is the chocolate of Wizard of Oz Flux, and like that.
Very cool.
And a lot of times, then the chocolate is going to be my favorite from that version. But I'm a big old stonerhead, so my favorite keeper of all is weed.
Nice. Well, as long as we're on the topic of Flux, what was your first licensing deal, and what surprised you most about the process?
Well, the first one was Monty Python Flux, and in retrospect, what surprises me about that was how easy that one was. It started with another company coming to us and saying, wow, this Fluxx game you got is great. It would be a perfect fit for a Monty Python skin. Can we do that? And I said, yes, but no. I will design it for you, but yeah, and we'll publish it with and give you a licensing fee for making it happen.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how that one started.
Were they
And
involved at all?
my understanding is that the design was sent around to all of the, at that time, 5 surviving Pythons, and they all signed off on it, but they had absolutely no comments or feedback.
Hmm.
It felt like they were just like, whatever.
I feel like Terry Jones would be the one to come back and have like a whole bunch of.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't know. It surprises me that even now, I mean, that after all these years, we've sold so many copies of that, and they've still never been any kind of word from any of them about, hey, that's a fun game or anything. My dream for a long time had been to like get into a game of it with one of them, but
Yeah.
never had a chance.
Ericite will be your best bet.
Yeah,
Yeah. As long as
He's
you
the
pay him,
friendliest Python.
yeah.
because
Anyway,
he's strapped for cash apparently.
Oh, is he?
No, I mean he's worth millions, but he complains about still having to work.
well, I mean,
He doesn't act because he wants to anymore. He just acts because he needs to make money. That's what he says in the press.
well,
So,
I don't know how it translates out for him, but he gets a few pennies or something off of every one of those
Nice.
decks we sell.
yeah, I'm sure he gets pennies from a lot of different
Yeah,
sources, but
yeah.
everybody's
I
got
don't
a
know how it works.
different style.
All right, I think I know the answer to this question already.
Yeah.
But it's from our standardized list. What is your favorite plant? And it doesn't have to be a type of plant. It could be a specific plant that
Like
you
that
know.
you have in a pot at home or something.
I mean,
It could be a person.
uh, my favorite plant. I mean, I've already given the cannabis answer,
Right.
Mhm.
but if I had to name a specific plant growing somewhere, I guess I might call out my favorite tree in the backyard.
There you go.
What kind of tree is it?
It's a dawn redwood.
Lovely. Wow, you have a redwood in your backyard?
It's called a dawn redwood. It's like some species of redwood, but
Not the
it's
giant one.
no. I mean, I think it's somehow from that family, but it's a deciduous tree, so it's not like a regular redwood,
Mm,
but it's fast growing. We planted it ourselves many when we first bought this house
Nice.
from like a 12-foot planting, and now it towers over the house.
But it's
And
not Ewok worthy.
no. Only because there's no platforms up there for them.
Well, you could build it.
But I do. I have a wizard staff that I made a year or two ago from a branch that fell off of this tree.
Oh, cool.
So it's very cool that I have this staff made from a branch from a tree I planted.
nice. That is
Yeah.
that's poetic.
Yeah. So I'll give that tree my shout out as favorite plant.
Great. All right, well then, moving on. What is your favorite musical, and when was the first time you saw Hair?
I've seen Hair a couple of times, but my favorite musical is 1776.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
With
Oh.
who was that? Well, in the movie version, John Adams was the voice of the car from Knight Rider, right?
Wow, I've never realized that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a mind blower. Oh man, I've been up on all of your cultural references. I've known everything you've been telling me, but that's there you got me on that. There's a trivia bit I had
William
not heard.
Daniels.
William
Daniels. Yes, voice
Yeah.
of Kit, the car in Knight Rider, and
Yeah, he's
also
John
John
Adams.
Adams
He
in
absolutely is.
1776.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And he's John Adams on the original soundtrack recording as well, and he really carries that whole show. So it was great to have him in his role in the film. And I watch that film every 4th of July. That's my favorite musical. Hair
Lovely.
is a high up there as well, but even that one might fall second to Jesus Christ Superstar.
Ooh, I
Oh,
love
that's
Jesus
kind of the
Christ
same.
Superstar.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my family's tradition to listen to that on Easter Sunday.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more of a hippie musical than
It
Hair
sure is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And I love Jesus Christ Superstar because it follows the format of the Jefferson Bible, which is to
Mhm.
say it ends with his death and doesn't have any supernatural anything in it. It's kind of
Yeah.
sacrilegious or anti-religion or something.
Right,
It's
there's
just
not
like,
even-
he died and that was it.
Yeah, there's not even miracles in it. Like
Yeah.
people come to
Yeah.
him for healing, but you
Yeah,
don't see it happen.
there's no miracles, there's no resurrection. It is kind of anti-religious.
Now, see,
Yeah.
you should revitalize it and do it in the style of the Jeffersons.
I don't know about that, but
All
I
right.
am a moving on up. I'll say
All
that.
right. Yeah. Great song.
All right, next question.
What is the most daring thing you've ever done?
The most daring thing I've ever done. I'm gonna say, um, it was the night we climbed to the top of a terrifyingly dangerous art structure at Burning Man called Night at the Climb In, which was more informally known as the Carbecue, and it was a stack of 7 wrecked cars stacked on top of each other, 90 degrees to 90 degrees,
I am actually
with
familiar with this.
with a camper up on top of that.
Mhm.
And you would get there by literally sort of climbing onto these wrecked cars, like climb onto the hood of a wrecked car and through the windshield hole where there was no windshield anymore because it was smashed out, and then kind of out the door and then into the next car and up and up and up. And we were looking at this on one of the earliest nights at Burning Man, and people were climbing on it. I'm like, if we want to climb this thing, we need to do it right now because I'm betting you that this is going to get shut down as unsafe before this week is out. And it was. Somebody fell off the next night and probably got paralyzed. Certainly,
Oh, geez.
it was terrible injury. And so, yeah, the rest of the week it was shut down. And climbing on that, I just felt like this is so dangerous. I have no business being up here with my girlfriend, no less. Here we are.
right.
Were they
But
at
we made
least welded to a central pole or something?
Yeah, there was a central pole they were all kind of barbecue shaft onto,
Yeah.
but it was incredibly rickety and dangerous.
It does
feeling.
sound dangerous.
But
That is-
that's the conundrum of Burning Man is that everybody involved is incredibly safe and
Yeah.
like they always do their best to like really consider safety and not. But
Yeah.
people will hurt themselves on us, whatever. I mean, incompetence
sure
is
will.
incompetence,
will
yeah.
crash their bike.
It's overall, it's amazingly safe. The few accidents for a city of that size, it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's pretty amazingly safe in a lot of ways. But it's true. Crazy things do happen out there. Yeah. Anyway, Burning Man itself is quite the take you out of your comfort zone experience. But climbing those wrecked cars that crazy night, that was
That's awesome.
the daringest thing I've ever done.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got 9 questions left. We're in the home stretch.
Good Lord.
If you want to bail at any point and tell us to F off, it's your prerogative.
No, I mean I'm here. I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm just like,
Excellent. So the next question is, what is something you learned recently that an educated guy and smart guy like you is not a common occurrence for you to learn something super shocking, but what is something that you learned recently that surprised you?
Well, I found this amazing. Did you know the actor who played John Adams in 1776 voiced the car Kid? I had no idea.
That is spectacular. That's an amazing.
I just
factoid.
learned that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that here first.
Next question.
What's a small everyday thing that makes you really, really happy?
And don't say weed.
Oh, that's obviously a silly answer, but it's I'm sorry, I'm a wake and bake stoner. It's an important part of my daily ritual.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
great.
well, let me modify the question then.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer? 1990s chronic or today's chronic?
Oh, I like the modern stuff because it's stronger than ever, and that means you don't need to smoke as much of it to get where you're going.
So then, follow up to the follow up. Do you prefer indica or sativa or a blend?
I'm a sativa man.
All right.
I'm here
It's
to have
cerebral.
I'm here to have my brain stimulated. I'm quite serious when I say I don't think I would be the creative dynamo that I've become if I hadn't become a stoner when I was 30.
Awesome.
Because I really genuinely feel that it's helped me have so many of the ideas that I've had. It opens my mind and makes me think creatively in a way that I wasn't quite there without it. So it's an important and powerful tool for me. And sativas are the ones that get my brain going. Indica is the sleepy stuff that
Right.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not as into.
All right. How about this thought then? Have you ever considered suing J.K. Rowling for naming a character Looney?
No,
Looney
no,
Lovegood.
no. Uh, First of all, I'm very anti-lawsuit, so I would never think in those
Well, that's
terms.
good.
Good man.
Um, and no, I don't. That doesn't bother me anywhere near as much as um, the fact that the Canadian dollar is called the loonie.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I considered putting that in there too, but I
at
yeah.
least
How
that makes less sense.
well, and it's called that because it has a loon on it, so they call
Oh,
them
right. I
loonies.
forgot about that.
But and it's a beautiful coin, I have to say.
What is your dream licensing deal?
here it is.
Star Trek was my answer for this forever. And
Which you have three of.
four, five really,
Well, if you count
because
the expansion.
there's four Star Trek Fluxes
Mhm.
and
Oh.
a fifth on the way because we're working on lower decks Flux.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Um, but the real reason I wanted all of that, the Star Trek thing that is my dream project was Star Trek Chrono Trek, my Chrononauts,
Mm.
love letter to Star Trek. And if
Ah.
you haven't seen that and you're a Star Trek fan and you like Chrononauts, I'm super proud of that. I mean, I spent 2 years trying to pull in references to every Star Trek time travel story I could find.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's incredible. The timeline of Star Trek history laid out on that timeline.
Is there some discovery in that?
No, I hate Discovery, and also it predates that.
Oh, really? Well, Discovery is all about like time travel and alternate timelines and stuff, you know?
Yeah, but it's terrible. I did not like Discovery at all. I think it was made by people who didn't really understand Star Trek and who changed it too much to do their own thing. And it just had stupid things that made no sense, like the spore drive. But it did give us Captain Pike and Strange New Worlds, so it has that going for it.
I did like the Harry Mudd appearance.
I did not. I hated that.
Really? Did you
Yes, I
think
absolutely hated that
did
because
you
I thought that was a betrayal of the character of Harry Mudd. Harry
Mm,
Mudd is not a insidious, a murderous psychopath. He's a lighthearted buffoon.
it's
His
true.
I will kill you again and again. That was not Harry Mudd. I hated that story.
Well, I thought Rainn Wilson was well cast at
He
least.
may have he's great. I love Rainn Wilson. And I think what he did was fine. He had a terrible, terrible script.
That's true.
Fair.
I'll agree with you on that
Even
one.
that, I wanted to enjoy it. I mean, maybe was it just the short that ended with like all these like robots of him doing stuff? That was fun, but his murder as a psychopathic take on the character was offensive to me.
Let's talk about Werewolf for a second. My impression, well, actually, I think you outright stated that Are You the Traitor was your experiment in how could we take Werewolf and make it so that you don't need a game master. So there's no phases, it's just the players. Am I on the right
Well,
track with that?
kind of that's kind of right, but what it really is um, more about having an actual winner.
Mm.
Hmm.
Because in Werewolf, you only ever have team victories. Either the werewolves win or the villagers win, and really only the living villagers
Right.
win.
I was just gonna say
Right.
that.
Uh, so so you might have one player left last standing if you have a particularly bloodbathy game, but usually, I mean, you can't have a tournament with Are You
Hmm.
a Werewolf?
Right.
But with Are You the Traitor, we have not just a social deduction round-based game, but those treasure cards that mean that you're building up an individual score and eventually have an actual winner that way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, then you went with Are You a Robot and even like minimizing it even more. How could we do
Yeah.
this with just two players? And there's a three-player version as well, but from what I read, it seemed like the essence was could you do Werewolf with two players? And you answered the question affirmatively, yes, you can. And
Yep.
here's how.
Yep.
I was wondering, given that you've been kind of like doing jazz with Werewolf, have you thought of other directions or other kind of prompts that you could play around with that werewolf idea further?
Not really. I mean, there's a lot of other social deduction games out there, so a lot of people have been exploring the edges of that experience and pushing the envelope. Obviously, I've done it a couple of times with the ones we've just been talking about. I don't have any others in my mind right now. You never know when inspiration will strike in some other way, but
Hmm.
I would say no.
Maybe a
right.
solitaire version. Am I a werewolf?
Yeah.
Uh, what's a common saying or rule you absolutely disagree with?
Common saying or rule? Oh, that's a stumper.
All right. You could
Common
pass if you
saying
need
or
to.
rule. I mean, I'd like to come back to that
We'll
one.
come
Let me
back to that one.
see if something occurs to me as we're talking.
All right, I'll have one that you've certainly been asked many times, but I have a follow up to it that may be a little different. What is your Mount Rushmore of board games? You can include your games if you like, or if you want to go for other games, it's your call.
Mount Rushmore of board games. I
So, which of
mean,
your board games desecrated? Never mind.
yes, carved our
Let's just
faces
so
on
we can say
on a
top four.
beautiful
I
mountain.
wrestled with that. Do I say Mount Rushmore? Do I say top four?
Sorry, I'm the prick.
No, I don't. Actually, it's an interesting topic. I mean, like I mentioned across America Flux, it has Mount Rushmore, but
Hmm.
Mhm.
we had to debate like kind of tacky and awful, but it's it's a very popular piece of Americana.
You could approach it from a Hitchcock perspective.
A Hitchcock perspective. What do you mean by that?
North by Northwest.
But yeah, okay. I mean, it features in there.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Yeah.
it? Isn't it the climax at the
It's
end?
the
He's hanging
climax
off
is
of the.
taking place
yeah.
on Mount Rushmore. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was giving you an out.
I'll just move to the follow up. But yeah, Damon is obscure sometimes.
Well, I love Hitchcock, so I had to chase that rabbit.
Sure. Um, if you don't want to do the Rushmore, then what would be your crazy horse of board games? And a caveat or a corollary to that could be: have you been to Crazy Horse?
I have been to Crazy Horse.
I love that place.
I've been there a couple of times. I remember as a kid when there was just like basically nothing yet except like here's what we're building, and but yeah, I stopped off when I was in my 6 week trip around the country, because it's just down the street from Mount Rushmore, which as a kid I called Man Rocks. There's this story
Very
about
apt.
yeah,
love it.
like well, there was a family vacation when I was a little kid where we went there, and afterwards I was apparently carrying on about the Man Rocks, and nobody could figure out what I was talking about for the longest time. What is he saying? The Man Rocks? What is that? You're asking like what's the one like if it's my own games, Fluxx is the crazy horse.
Mhm.
It's all about Fluxx. Fluxx has done everything for us. It's for me, the pyramids are my greatest accomplishment in so many ways. They're my proudest joy, but they would be nowhere if it weren't for the Fluxx game that allowed us to manufacture everything else we do.
Right on. Yeah.
From my if it listing kind of my own like the Looney Labs, Mount Rushmore, it's like Fluxx, the pyramids, Chrononauts, and like maybe Aquarius or Loonacy. I guess Loonacy. Like Fluxx, Fluxx, Pyramids, Chrononauts, and Loonacy would be my Looney Labs Mount Rushmore.
Nice.
And I don't care about other companies' games. I don't need to try to figure out Monopoly or whatever.
What about Munchkin? Munchkin's fun.
Munchkin, Schmunchkin.
Oh, yeah, that was actually there was a question that didn't make the cut that was
Uh-huh.
about how you feel about Steve Jackson, but we didn't get that on the list, so don't answer that question.
Oh, I admire Steve. He's kind of what we all aspire to. The game designer who becomes a household name associated with his products, creating a whole lot of different things. He's a nice guy. I've met him a few times. In fact, he wanted to buy Fluxx.
Really?
When, in an alternate universe, Fluxx is a Steve Jackson game and still is.
Wow.
Wow.
But
Interesting.
when we were first realizing we have this game here that's going to be a hit, we shopped the idea around to several different game companies to let them take the ball and run with it, and we sold it to a company called Iron Crown Enterprises, which is really good. But they published the next version of it, and they published it for a couple of years, but then they went bankrupt,
Mhm.
and not because of Fluxx could not save them. They had bigger picture problems. And then the rights reverted to us. And we're so glad it did because we're like, you know what? We are regretting licensing this game out. We want to we want to we want to publish the game ourselves and start a game company. We've decided we want to do that. So it worked out well. But we might just as easily have sold the rights to Steve Jackson, who is still there, and he wouldn't have given them back.
Nope.
It'd be a very different world.
I have to say though, the most admirable, looking over your bio is a timeline, right? The most admirable quality is your ability to pick up your boot, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and stand up your own stuff and stand behind it, and not just a lot of people come up with a good idea and they sell it to somebody and they walk away and that's it.
Yeah, well, it was quite useful actually, a very eye-opening experience or whatever that we had that we learned that you know what because before we did it, we thought this is the dream. In fact, reading books on like how do you start a game business and all that, it's all about like you want to do your own, demonstrate that the game is good enough, print run, like and sell it yourself, and then after you'll build interest in the game, and then eventually you'll be able to sell the rights to a big game company and retire on a beach someplace. And like that's the dream, right? So we did that, and we're like, this is a nightmare. We want the rights back. We want to be. We're marketing it the way we want to be marketing it, or whatever.
Or you have to ask people to do what you want to do with your thing.
Yeah. And so, without that lesson in that's not actually the dream, who knows where we would be?
Like when Michael Jackson owned the rights to all the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
And Paul McCartney had asked permission to like do remakes of his own songs.
Yeah. Seriously.
All right. You got this one?
What food do you hate?
Now, you did say that you have a lot of food.
Ooh, there are many
things.
foods that I hate. I'm a super taster, so I am a picky eater. I find many foods bitter and disgusting that a lot of other people seem to find delicious. I hate vegetables. It's a wonder that I'm as like skinny and healthy as I am because I have a terrible diet. I eat all kinds of junk food and I eat a lot of processed foods and meat and all the things you're not supposed to eat. And I don't eat the things you're supposed to eat. But my biggest ban, I think, is spicy food. I don't like having my taste buds burned away. I just don't. I hate it.
Well, it's a good thing chocolate doesn't trip your bitter trigger, because then what would we call the good cards in Fluxx?
It's true. But when I say I like chocolate, I mean I want milk chocolate, good, delicious milk chocolate. And I've many times in my life, oh, you like chocolate? Here's some rich dark chocolate for you. Oh, get out of here with that. I hate dark chocolate. It's bitter and awful.
Right?
What if chocolate tasted like coffee?
I hate coffee.
Right? Well, Andy, final question.
Oh, final question.
And it's a goofy one.
Okay.
If you could have one specific superpower from a comic book character, what power would you have and what would you do with it?
Well, I mean, I'm a huge time travel fan, so my go-to answer is going to be anybody who has time stopping or time leaping powers. I'm not sure if it's a comic book character because I saw it on a TV show, but and they weren't sort of like superheroes in tights kind of thing, but it was, remember the show Heroes?
Oh yeah, Heroes was great.
When you said that, I immediately thought of Hero in
Yep,
Heroes.
same.
Hero from Heroes is my
one
man.
of the few good instances of good time travel. Like they didn't fuck it up.
They did.
Everybody
really
fucks up time travel.
Did. So Hero from Heroes is my choice, and I want to go back in time and unravel all the mysteries, find out who really killed JFK because it was not Oswald,
right?
And all the other mysteries that only a time traveler would be able to unravel. Find out what happens to me in the future. All those things.
Then a follow-up to that. Do you subscribe to the idea that what you do in the past can change things, or the idea that time is a fixed landscape and you couldn't possibly change anything? You would just then be part of what had always happened?
Oh, I think time is changeable.
Yeah.
Multiverse style or linear?
Multiverse. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there would really be a multiverse. I think that reality. I think there's probably just one universe, but the reality would ripple and be different. It was always like that, like the Mandela effect.
Right, but then you can get into paradoxes. Like, is your time travel paradox proof, or like the way you're saying it? If what you do in the past can change things, what if it changes so that you could never time travel, which means you could never go back and change the thing you changed?
Yeah. Well, all of that's why I actually don't. Much as I love it, and I wish it were real, I don't believe time travel is possible.
Mhm.
Actually, I do think that if time travel were possible, it would work like this. You can go back in time, but it's just like, the original time travel story is the one that got it right. What is the
H.G.
original
Wells.
time travel story?
H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, right?
Incorrect. The
No.
answer is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Oh
Oh, nice.
yeah. Wow.
And in that version, I can go back in time, but I'm only seeing the
You're witnessing
shadows
it.
of things that were there. I can't
Right on.
interact with anything. I can't
Mhm.
change anything. No one there is aware of me. I'm just visiting. I can
Mhm.
see it. I can't do anything there. And if we even had that type of time travel, imagine we could go back and see who really shot JFK or whatever it is.
Mhm.
No one would know we were there. For all we know, the grassy knoll is full of time travelers going, wow, look at that.
The convention.
Another one that comes up early is Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Twain.
But I'd have to look at the exact publication dates on these things to know.
Yeah.
Certainly, the Time Machine is the first one that posited doing it with a
With a
device.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
an
Yeah.
invention that would allow it.
Yeah. Well, that takes me to what I was going to say actually was even though we kind of like based on physics reject the idea that we could physically like with our body travel into the past, what if it were just consciousness that could be transmitted through time and possibly does all the time?
Yeah, I mean that's basically the same thing as I was saying. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
I can send my brain back in time and look at things and experience it, but I can't actually be there.
Right, because physical matter maybe not, but information
Yeah,
could
yeah.
conceivably
Another
travel.
form of time travel I think is interesting to think about is like transmitting data. Like what if I could just send a letter back in time?
Right.
Like, watch out, they're gonna bomb Pearl Harbor.
I think they already had that memo.
Yeah, they did. That's an
Yep.
interesting point. Yeah, but
Yeah.
send it again. It didn't get through.
Send it
Send it to
earlier.
somebody else.
Send it to somebody else. Attention, President.
No, I was gonna bring up, what is it, the Umbrella Club?
The
What's it-
Umbrella
The Umbrella
Academy.
Academy, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
club.
Sorry.
They just like umbrellas a lot. It's a club.
Yeah, there's a club. There's a
What about it? They had the JFK assassination. That's my favorite subject.
they did like a good and bad job with time travel.
They wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
thought-
I'm suddenly inspired to circle back to an earlier question, and it's not quite the right answer, but it was like, what's an expression or rule that is wrong? And
Right.
you just used it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's said wrong. You want to eat your cake and still have it.
Yes. It needs to be reworded.
It should be, I want to eat my cake and still
and
have
still
it.
have
Right.
it.
That's
Yeah.
how the expression should be.
Or keep my head.
Marie Antoinette did not say that. That's where you
No,
were
she
going
did
with
not.
that. Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But I put that cake in early American Chrononauts. So
Indeed.
Marie
Indeed.
Antoinette's cake. She didn't say that, but she did eat a lot of cake in her life.
Yeah, well, she was a princess. She had to. It
yeah.
was her job. It was literally
All you
her
do
job.
is sit around in the palace and eat cake.
It
I
was her
want that
job to wear fancy dresses and go to parties, and all
Yeah,
she got
yeah.
was shit for it. She's like, they literally make me do this. She was
Yeah.
like, what, 14?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, on that note, Andy Looney, thank you so much for joining us here on Your Aleatoric Reality.
It's been a pleasure.
We will be in touch. We will post some show notes and anything you want to add in or promote, you send our way, and we'll stick it in there.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your show.
So that was our discussion with Andy Looney. It was a lot of fun. And then,
Yep.
as you mentioned on the last episode, you then ran into him at Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
really get a
that's
chance
it.
to talk to him. He was pretty rich. I think he was whirlwinding it because he had not been, well, as I said before, he had not been, I think somebody contacted him and he was like, you want to fly for this? He's like, sure.
Uh-huh.
But he definitely had the vibe of like, just stopping by.
Right. Cool. Well, it's cool that you got to run into him in person.
Yep.
So then we have 2 orders of business at the end of every episode. We need to issue a listener challenge and, of course, roll for the topic of the next show. So
Absolutely.
for listener challenge, unless you have something Andy Looney related, because I went to the Poe Museum today, I was thinking, and he started out only publishing poetry. Like his initial thing was like, I am going to make a living writing poetry. before he
Right.
got into short stories. And so I was like, why don't we have people read some poetry? Because a lot of people don't think to do that these days. So I've made a list, and if you want to change your list, listener, feel free. But your starter list, if you don't want to do the research, is one, Edgar Allan Poe, two, Swinburne, three, Edna St. Vincent Millay, four, Emily Dickinson, five, Robert Frost, and six, William Butler Yeats. Roll for one of those and either find some poems online, go to the library, pick up a book if you can find it, or, if there's some poets you've heard of and always wanted to check out, throw them on your list. See what happens. The reason I put Swinburne on the list is for two reasons. Because
Hmm.
A, Crowley wrote about him a lot. Crowley also
Hmm.
thought he was a poet, which I is debatable, but
Didn't he write a bunch of dirty limericks?
probably. But he wrote what he thought also like were supposed to be serious poems,
Hmm.
which I don't think were high quality. But that dude was mainly a con artist. But he wrote disparagingly of Swinburne quite a bit. And also in the Edgar Allan Poe Museum, they had one of the things on display was a first edition Tamerlane that had been owned by Swinburne. And it was one of there's like 14 known copies of that book that still exist. And the one that's in the museum was actually property of the poet Swinburne. So that's why I put him on the list. So listener, roll for a poet, read some poetry, get yourself some culture. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. And here we go to roll for the topic of the next episode. I'm counting on Damon to roll a four-sider because I didn't bring mine with me here in
um,
Richmond. And we've got
let's
game,
see.
guest, activity, or topic.
I have an 8-cider in front of me.
Divide by two, round up.
Yep.
Or is it divide by two, round down? It's round down.
One.
A game.
A game. Okay.
So next episode, we shall play a game.
That's gonna be difficult.
No, it's round up.
I rolled a 2.
That's a one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you rolled a one and divide it by two, it would be 0.5, and you round up to one. So that's how it works. Either way, we're playing a game next time. We'll figure it
All
out.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Peace out.
Later.
Your aleatoric reality.